Today's edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox is brought to you by the fabulous Casa Calabria in the Ocean Manor Hotel on the Galt Ocean Mile.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defoe, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome again to another live, fresh edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We are at the fabulous, beautiful Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort on Galt Ocean Mile in Fort Lauderdale. It is a beautiful day, sunny, balmy. If you could see where I am sitting from, I'm looking out at a very calm and blue Atlantic Ocean and a bunch of happy people sitting around the pool. And I'm sitting next to Frank Talarico, restaurateur, hotelier, man about town. It's good to see you again, Frankie.
It's good to have you back again. You just named it.
Oh,
Perfect.
we got to get the mic. Oh, wait, get the mic mic'd up. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Lubie's just back from
Sorry
Spain,
about that.
so it's we got to get it. Now we got you.
Right.
Now we could hear you.
Now you can hear me. Okay.
Now it's
and what I was saying is you called it perfect. What an incredible day. And it seems like it's been like 2 months of just cold, freezing, windy, rainy weather. And the last, I think, 7 days going forward, looking the next 14 days just seems like paradise.
nice.
80 degrees every day, no clouds, no rain. This is what we all moved to South Florida
This
for.
is the sweet spot where it's warm enough that you can go out and not have to break out a sweater, but not too hot and uncomfortable where you can't stay out. And you can just sit out by the pool. Go out to you got the beautiful bamboo beach tiki bar here, which you're prepping for, I guess. A big weekend,
Yes,
right?
Super Bowl Sunday. We're sold out. The hotel's sold out. And we do a huge party at the Tiki Bar. We have, besides the 16 flat screens that are underneath the hut and the 3 flat screens that are underneath the small hut, we put huge, big screens all over the building. One on the beach, one on the building, one on the pool, one by the cabanas with projectors. And we have an incredible crowd. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody's got a perfect view of the game, perfect sound of the game, and you can order off them. And we don't do this. You got to spend $200 to sit down.
No minimums. No. Yeah, it's just it's a place.
We do have to make reservations, and
because it's
it's Super Sunday.
Yeah, and for a table of 5 or 6, I think we have like a $200, $250 minimum.
Here at
like
Calabria.
Yeah, but I mean,
at the Tiki Bar.
You're
Yeah,
watching
what
the game,
happens
you're
here
drinking
at
your
Calabria? Do people come in and they see the game? Like you have the bar back here, right?
Yep. So we show the game here with full sound, and you just first come, first serve. Grab a bar stool, sit at a table, buy a nice TV.
The thing is, nowadays, I mean, everybody can kind of watch the games on their phone.
On your phone, honestly.
So, like, you can come out if you want to have a nice meal. And of course, with all the gambling going on now, I mean, you have the betting apps, so you could lay down your action, and then if you correctly predict whether it's going to be heads or tails for the opening coin flip or the length of the national anthem, you could already have in your pocket enough money to have a fabulous meal here at Casa Calabria, and then you just basically watching the game with house money. It's great.
Exactly. It is great. And you don't need to use your phone at Casa Calabria. I think we have 8 televisions in the bar area.
There you go.
And we'll be full sound of the game going on as well.
Oh, nice.
So we canceled the singer. We normally have live entertainment every Sunday, but it's a special day. It's Super Bowl Sunday. No one wants to hear singing, even though our singing is incredible. Our entertainers, they just want to watch and focus on the game.
Do you have a rooting interest in this affair?
I don't. I'm a Detroit Lion.
I'm sorry.
Close.
I mean, that's brutal. You are a Detroit guy.
I grew up in Detroit, and we were really rooting for Detroit to go to the Super Bowl.
Were you surprised at all about how horribly they accounted for themselves against the Redskins? I'm sorry, the Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders. I was surprised, but they deserved to lose that game. 5 turnovers. Defense couldn't stop anything. I just wasn't the Detroit team we're used to seeing.
Is there part of you that says, because this is a Detroit team that has really never, obviously never won a Super Bowl, have they been to a Super Bowl? No. So given their history of success, is that one of those things where you're kind of fatalistic, like the Cubs fans and the Red Sox fans back in the day, a Rangers fan in the hockey that I grew up with, where you kind of like you're expecting it.
Well, you know what? We're holding on to hope because a lot of our defensive players were out. Our main,
we're
our
down
best,
like 11 dudes.
the 11 defensive players were out starters. And I think that's what really, hurt us.
The
most.
weird thing, though, was, you lost a bunch of those players, the key players, throughout, earlier in the season, and the team didn't seem to lose a step. They kept just crushing the competition, and then when it gets to
it catches up.
Yeah, but if you watched their games, it was their offense that always pulled them through.
They were high powered.
Throughout the end of the season, they couldn't stop anyone in any game, even with Buffalo. And it was always tit for tat, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. If we would have had the great defense that we had in the beginning of the season, our offense wouldn't have to be such, performing at such a high level.
And then it makes Goff have to do more.
Yes.
Like Goff's great at just getting the job done. You're not making him be a playmaker, and that's just not what he's good at.
Goff
It was his worst game all year.
Worst for last. And Goff, it stands short for god awful, and he was god awful in that game. All right, enough rubbing.
I was rooting them on. I would love to have seen them.
Are you an NFC guy now? Do you want to see the Chiefs toppled or?
Well, yes, I do. I like to see Philadelphia win. The coach is from Calabria, Italy. He wears the Italian flag.
Sirianni.
I adopted
There's your angle.
the Eagles.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we want to see the Eagles win. We're rooting for the Eagles here at
All
Casa
right,
Calabria.
that's it.
Why not? That's great.
Since the coach is from Calabria,
That's
we have to
freaking
represent.
cool.
Well, it's going to be hopefully a good.
And they'll have it all over
tight
here.
game.
So.
But besides that, busy times here. I guess we were talking with Chef Salvatore. He's back in the kitchen. He's got 100 million things. Like got a big wedding on Saturday. You got these tastings coming. What's happening?
You know
here
what?
at Calabria?
Things have just been incredible.
That's
And since we've shut down and remodeled, and we did an amazing job. Everybody loves the new look and the new feel. And we've been busier than we've ever been, and the customers have been happier than they ever. It's the food with the chef Salvatore back there looking out after every little detail. And of course, Vito and I every day checking the recipes, making sure the meatballs are on point and the sauce is on point. And my mom's gnocchi recipe is perfect, and the stuffed eggplant.
The gnocchi with the gorgonzola cream sauce. I talk about it in the little ad, the spot every day. It really is fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. That's the line I described it like. And I apologize. I haven't been in here in a while. I am trying to shed some weight. You notice that I have got my sparkling. I'm not going to call it sparkling wine. It's a sparkling water. But I got to get in here again because you guys do a great job. Like you always say, the highest rated across the social media spectrum, the Google reviews and all that in terms of Italian dining. Not only is the food fabulous, you got a fantastic view. It's one of the few places along the beach that where the food matches the scenery.
Yep. So we have the beautiful terrace overlooking the ocean. It's got a great view of the Atlantic Ocean and the tiki bar. You can eat outside where it's nice and quiet. Then we have the main dining room where you hear, soft music. We can still have a conversation and have a nice little, experience. Right. And then you can go over to the bar
and then later at night
with party and
you
live
can burn
music.
some of those calories off.
So we got
dancing and
you got it. We got everything you need right here, and we are the highest rated Italian. I looked again. Google 4.8, Open Table 4.8.
That's so great.
And that's hard to do after 9 years of being open and almost 2,000 reviews.
That's impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, this little Let's Eat South Florida group that I helped run, that I started, that has almost 200,000 people in it now. I don't ever think I've read a negative word about people's experiences here. I've seen some nice, positive reviews, glowing experiences, but I haven't seen anybody, and we've get some doozies in there. People love to rip restaurants from everything from their, tipping policies to, I showed up at 8:00 on a Saturday night and lo and behold, I actually had to wait 10 minutes after my reservation time. Well, yeah, listen, people, it's high season. Sometimes you got to wait. You got to have a drink at the bar and you wait.
That's amazing.
But, people are eager to vent, and take all their problems and air it out on the social media. But you guys seem to be doing something right, because I don't see any disparaging words.
Well, I don't think I can't. I've been here 9 years, and I can't remember someone complaining to the point where they say, "I didn't like the food. I didn't like," I really don't remember any complaints. That's how hard it is to get a complaint out of here. I think we have maybe one bad review, and everything else is a 5-star or
And coming from me, look, I'm particular about my food,
Yep.
and I can't find anything to complain because there is nothing to everything that comes out of this kitchen. Chef Sal, he cooks with passion and good ingredients and good, those home, spun recipes. And I got a meatball in front of me. I cannot resist. I'm going to go in for one of these.
Well, it's something that we've talked about, especially look, Italian. There's just in this area, there's a bunch of different Italian places. But what's cool about it is, again, my wife and I grew up with very different Italian interests, and you get a little bit of everything here. You do get a meatball with some ricotta. You do, the sauces are homemade, but you also get elevated as well. You get authentic. Like, again, when they were putting it together, I love the stories of hearing about Frankie's aunt and grandmother's recipes, and everyone's putting their 2 cents in there, and they made it a point to keep. We hear the word authentic all the time. They live by that here, and they bring things over from Italy that's authentic. They bring stuff from around here that is real deal and fresh, and it's all different levels, but you leave here satisfied every single time because you're getting great quality, a great experience, and great service.
Yeah. And you guys should be proud of what you're doing.
Well, before we opened, I flew my aunts in from Calabria.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both of them, and they stayed at the hotel for a few months, and they worked with our chefs.
Oh, wow!
Showing them our family recipes. So everything is as authentic as you.
Now,
can
me
get.
and Lubie are of the Jewish persuasion. Are the Italian ants anything like the Jewish ants? Or are they actually like pleasant to be around? Or
They can flip. So they're very pleasant, of course, but don't get them angry, especially when especially when they have a wooden shoe that they're wearing.
Wooden shoe that they're wearing, or a knife in their hand when they're in the kitchen. Now, these meatballs, by the way, again, beautiful texture. What do you put in them? Is it a 3-meat blend, or is it just a...
No. So in Calabria, we were poor. We couldn't afford veal.
Okay.
We had pork and beef.
Pork and beef.
Oh, man,
and
that's a great combo.
It's but if the flavor and the texture, you can see how moist that meatball is.
It's like it squishes when you kind of press on it.
Yeah, it's not dry, and the sauce is one of my. You can drink the sauce.
Is a meatball a big seller here? And
it is. It's one of our best sellers. The gnocchis, all the family recipes are some of the best.
Yeah.
Now, Lubie just got back from, I think it was like 10 days in Spain. He didn't make it to Italy this time.
No, that's our next trip.
But in terms of authenticity, do restaurants and people make meatballs polpette in Italy, but they just don't serve it with spaghetti? Or how? Because sometimes people will say, "Oh, you never see chicken parm in Italy."
No, but meatballs are.
Yeah. So meatballs are always made in Italy.
Meatballs are big deal.
It's never really on top of spaghetti. It's always a separate side dish.
Yep.
Okay.
But there is pasta on the table, so you can mix them together if you like.
Right.
But meatballs are something I grew up with. My mom sometimes used to make the meatballs and just hand me the raw little piece of that either.
Wow.
Yeah, that was back, when I was a
That'll
kid.
put hair on your chest.
And
I think it'll help your digestive system.
And then she used to take the meatballs before she made them her style in the sauce like that is here, and she'd flatten them out and then saute them in the frying pan with some olive oil and make them nice and crispy. And just no sauce, no nothing. And we just eat them right out of the frying
So
pan.
what are the big sellers here? The polpette, the antipasta platters, and then the pastas.
The gnocchi is one of our biggest sellers.
Yep, as it should be. Yeah.
And
ricotta gnocchi.
Yeah, they're called.
Which is different. It's different than any other gnocchi. A lot of times it's really heavy, and there's
the potato ones, the flour one. Forget about it.
There's so much more flavor to it.
The reason why we have the ricotta gnocchis is because my dad was a farmer and he had 300 goats in Italy.
Oh, well, now you get ricotta.
And he used to make fresh ricotta every single day.
Wow.
And either sell it or trade it in our town of Calabria, San Giovanni Fiore. My mom had fresh ricotta in the house all the time.
Wow.
And obviously, it was better to make the gnocchi with the leftover fresh ricotta that my dad just made the same day. And when we opened Casa Calabria, what was it, 45 years later, our chef says, "Hey, we're going to make a potato gnocchi." I said, "No, chef, we're going to make a ricotta gnocchi because Casa Calabria, we got to have my mom's recipe." He's like, "Oh, ricotta's too expensive, Frank. We save a lot of money to make it a potato gnocchi." I said, "Chef, I don't care how expensive this is. We're opening up Casa Calabria. It's has to be my mom's recipe."
Oh, wow.
And so we made them with ricotta, and It's the number one hit. They're like soft pillows. They
Yeah.
melt in your mouth.
Yeah, they're
the flavor's
fantastic.
fantastic.
And for people around town, if you haven't been here yet, what are you waiting for? Casa Calabria, I believe it's 4040 North
Galt O-
Ocean Drive.
Galt Ocean Drive.
Galt Ocean
Galt
Drive.
Ocean
40
Drive.
40 Galt Ocean Drive.
Right. Ocean Drive is A1A. Galt Ocean Drive. It's the one with all the big buildings, right? It's beautiful. And 4040 Ocean Manor Resort. You pull in here, they have valet parking. Is it free for restaurant guests
Yes.
or how does that
Yeah.
work?
So we
Okay.
validate your parking pass. If you have dinner here, we'll validate it. And it's complimentary.
That
valet
already
parking.
puts you ahead of the game than some of those places down on Las
Especially on
Olas
the
now.
beach.
These parking lots on Las Olas, $20, like for the night. Or,
I drove to the Delray wants to meet a friend,
Mhm.
and I valet parked, not even thinking about it, to go eat sushi at, I think it was the Ray Hotel. That was
yeah,
when
they have that fancy place,
Yeah, and it
Akira Beck. Yeah.
and it was very good. And
Yeah.
I came out, and I think that the valet parking was like $40.
And
I-
they'd have
like,
a
I-
gun and a ski mask. I mean, like it's
And I said to myself, how do they do any business here? And I said, what if I had dinner at the restaurant? And they're just like, it's okay, still $40.
Oh my God, they didn't care.
good.
Dang,
What if
yeah.
I had dinner at the restaurant? Well, good for you. I hope you
Yeah.
had a delicious meal. Here's my
Exactly.
40.
Here's the
That's
40.
it. No, that's great to hear because it's those little things that if you're going to be
Yep.
dropping a little bit of money on a nice dinner and a great bottle of wine, you don't want to get nickeled and dimed. And
That's it.
so many places now, they well, whatever. You guys are mindful, and I appreciate that. And
Well, and one thing Frank's always been great at is about the experience. He said it himself. We've talked about people can get food any which way now. To get them to come out to your place is even harder. You want them to have an experience and a great experience, and that's something Frank's done for years. The Tiki Bar. It's not just your average. We've done a ton of shows there, and the food is as high quality as any place you'll find down the Fort Lauderdale beach. Even though, again, it's a Tiki Bar. You usually think you'd get this and get that. They do high quality, some elevated things that are just fantastic. And the same thing with Casa Calabria. You don't miss out on anything, and that's what's really cool. Is it's great food, but the experience, like it's worth coming out here to Chef Salvatore, what they're doing here.
Look at
Speaking
that.
of the gnocchi,
And their
Speaking of
stuff.
the gnocchi, this one looks like it's in the nice, the pink sauce, the maca sauce. Well, we're gonna.
Chef, why don't you sit down and
You want to have a? We'll give a
explain
little
the
spiel.
specials.
Yeah, I was gonna take the first break, but I can't take a break now.
Let the
Now that
food
all
come.
this is great
Let-
food is
let the
dropped, we gotta get give a warm hello and say hi to Chef Salvatore. Say Happy New Year because this is the first time we've seen you in 2025. How are things going?
Hi, how are you?
Chef, tell us what we have here. So
Okay, start con the gnocchi. This is a soft gnocchi con the ricotta.
Mm-hmm.
It's ricotta
That's
cheese,
right
and
here.
the sauce is vodka sauce.
Mm-hmm. And we gotta take some pictures of
And,
this too. We gotta put this on
Make
social.
every day the sauce, fresh sauce, and the gnocchi is fresh. Make the recipe is from the family, Mr. Frank. It's very soft gnocchi, fresh every day. Make it.
Mm.
The special tonight, I make the stuffed eggplant ravioli with cheese.
Eggplant ravioli, huh?
Yes.
So it's
And-
vegetarian or no meat in it? at
No,
all?
you have a meat because this is the specialist ravioli alla boscaiola.
Okay.
Boscaiola is authentic Italian sauce
It's
with Italian
well, shredded
sausage.
meat or it's a sausage.
Yeah, yeah.
So
basically.
inside the ravioli, there's no meat, but on the outside, there's sausage, there's
Mix,
sun-dried tomatoes and
mixed mushroom.
mushrooms. It's a
It's a
incredible-
white sauce. It's a good combination with sausage, mushroom, and tomato confit. Later, you have the fresh rigatoni con the Calabria meat.
Oh, okay.
That's my
is-
mom's recipe as well.
Yeah.
This was our Sunday sauce.
They
but-
call it like it's a ragu or a Sunday.
so what it is chunks of tender beef that's stewed in a sauce for like 6 to 8 hours, and we cook it in the sauce, and the sauce absorbs the flavor of the beef.
very soulful.
Yeah, and the beef gets so tender, literally
It
breaks
just
apart. It just
falls
melts in
apart.
your mouth. And
Yeah,
as kids, we ate that all the time, and that's
And-
one of our best sellers.
and
as
all
well.
these pastas are house made. This is a house
all
made.
homemade. Everything's made from scratch here.
That looks great. I cannot wait to get in there. And the braised beef, I guess you braise it it starts with the mirepoix, with the carrots and stuff like that, or
Yeah, you cook on the carrot, onion, celery.
and the
everything.
celery. Yeah. All right. Well, that's off limits for my girlfriend Val. I'll be eating that dish all by myself if we come here. But
That's something you got to try. You're gonna
oh,
love
I
it.
know. I'm going to be diving into that in a second. But What else is happening in terms of you got a lot of any other events or wine dinners or things like
Well,
that?
we got
coming?
Valentine's Day
Oh,
coming
how
up.
could I forget? Is
Yep.
it booked, fully booked?
We
or-
still have a few availability. I think from 6 to 8 is completely booked at this point, but
Okay.
you can come in a little earlier. You can come in a little later.
It's a Friday night,
It's a
so
Friday
you go
night,
late,
Yep.
right?
And we also have some outdoor dining experience available. White
Okay.
linen right by the cabana dining.
Oh,
that
down there.
we're gonna
Okay,
be
not
offering.
just out here on the
Not
terrace.
just here. We're also because we're so busy that night. We have to actually set up a few more
Okay,
tables.
well, that's good. That's a good problem to have, and it's not a problem at all. It's just got to hope for a nice, clear night, and I'm sure it's going to be another beautiful evening here in South Florida. Chef, thank you. I'm going to start diving
You're
into this.
welcome.
We got to take our first break, and before we do, let me just put in a quick good word about our friends at Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap. That is down 525 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. They've been getting rave reviews on the Let's Eat group, so many of them that we actually had to place a moratorium. They were coming in like every hour on the hour some weekends because people go for their beautiful brunch weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and they have the bottomless drinks, they have the chicken and waffles, they have shrimp and grits, all your southern favorites, plus along with some of the new health-minded options like that great burrata and grilled peach salad. I love Batch. Brandon and Kevin do a fantastic job, and now they have 3 locations: one in Fort Lauderdale, one in West Delray by the Delray Marketplace, out by the Turnpike in Atlantic and Lyons, and then of course one on Clematis Street in West Palm Beach. Go to Batch, tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, let's take our first break, and then we'll be diving into all these delicious dishes here at Casa Calabria, the Ocean Manor Resort on Galt Ocean Mile. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining, and they are now featuring a monthly lamb roast brunch on the first Sunday of every month. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima for reservations. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, It's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me. I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices, served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast. We're back on an afternoon edition of the Lunchbox from Casa Calabria, Galt Ocean Manor Resort. Frank Talarico, you're trying to get your sister on. She's in town. Sarah, come on.
So she helps me here. She actually was a big part of helping me grow up, along with the Italian family. Everybody was close. She was my older sister and helped my mom raise me, even change my diapers when I was a kid. and she used to cook as well with my mom.
So she helped out with the whole
them,
launching of this fantastic. I can't believe it's been 9 years.
That's
Frank.
crazy.
That is crazy, but crazy in a good way, because it means people are coming and they love it, and it's established a reputation now as one of the best Italian food experiences in town. You'll get treated like family, very cozy, not like some of these places where there's a lot of rules or you get some attitude, and it's homey, and that's why part of the reason I loved it when I first came in, when I was a critic at the Sun Sentinel. And I still love it today. So
yeah, people, that's what they say when they come here. Like, you know what? You make us feel such at home that we feel like we're at our Nona's house, and she's cooking for us, and it's so warm and so fun and so friendly, and I speak to my staff about that all the time.
Right.
But they get it. They understand it.
And Chef Sal, he went to hospitality school. European hospitality is different than here because it's a profession and people treat it like such, and they make sure people leave satisfied with smiles on their faces, and that's one of the reasons why you rarely hear a disparaging word, at least not on the Let's Eat group. I have not seen it yet, so job well done. How's the wine down there, Lubie?
It's fantastic. It's Frankie's favorite, so obviously it's good.
Well, it's not my favorite, but it's
a good blend. It's a good, solid red blend that goes great with that Sunday
sauce.
sauce.
I like smooth wine. I don't like bitter
tannins and all.
I'm just saying because I'm doing a dry February. Now, a lot of people do dry January, Frank. You know why I do dry February?
So you can drink when they're not drinking in January?
No, because February only has 28 days.
Oh,
Smart man. Easiest month.
Yes.
For embracing temporary sobriety. I don't know about my sanity, though. It is definitely hard to be surrounded by, again, especially in an Italian restaurant. I remember when I was growing up, there was an Italian neighborhood restaurant in Brooklyn, and they had these the placemats at the table, and it said, "A day without wine is like a day without sunshine." And I am trying to live through some cloudy days now, but
I've been drinking 1 glass of wine a day, and it's great for your blood pressure and your cholesterol.
Yeah,
the doctor told me to do it. I'm like, great. And I'm not a big drinker.
Right. Moderation. I think 1 to 2 glasses of red wine with a dinner every day is not a bad habit. I just want to see if I can do it. I don't know why I want to see that. I'm questioning it. I'm only on day 5. I said I wouldn't talk about it again. But when I see that red velvety wine and with that nice beautiful, soulful, I did have a bite of the what's the pasta? It's a rigatoni.
It's rigatoni pasta with the Calabria meat sauce. And when you come to the restaurant, you got to say pasta with Calabria meat sauce. Okay. My mom's recipe, and we stew
that's fantastic.
The beef
in
the sauce.
They call it bracciolo.
It's actually tender beef. Beef tenderloin.
Okay.
And it stews in our homemade signature tomato basil sauce. And
And it doesn't have too much of a kick, because I know some of the Calabrian dishes, like the Calabrian chilies and the andouille,
The sauce
has a little bit of spice, but this is
this
very
is
mild.
it has no spice at all. It's whatever our regular sauce is. We just add the beef and some onions, and it just stews in the sauce for hours and hours and hours. And when you taste the beef, it just breaks apart and melts in your mouth.
Layers,
Incredible flavor.
tender, and then the layers of flavor with the sauce that's slow simmered. It really is something that I can eat every day, but I wouldn't be losing any weight that way. But I definitely think for a Sunday, well,
I tell you what,
But you
because
said-
everything's homemade. There's no preservatives
I was
and
gonna
everything,
say.
including the pastas, which we use 00 Caputo flour
Mhm.
imported from Italy. For our bread, you can be have a gluten intolerance, and come eat bread here,
Oh,
and
wow.
come eat pasta here, and won't have a problem because it's homemade from scratch with imported
the
products,
finest European ingredients,
imported from
no
Italy.
GMOs.
Yeah,
It's
so-
all
Mhm.
it's clean food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I eat it every day, and I
He's in
know
great shape.
and I haven't had a weight problem yet. So it's
Well,
been 9 years.
You're a man on the move that always is, doing stuff. So it's easier for you than maybe me, who is not a man on the go. I'm a man that's usually surrounded by temptation at every turn. Lubie, when you were in Spain, did they have pasta there,
Yep.
or did you have like
Yep.
Italian kind of dishes, or
Yeah.
you stuck straight with tapas?
We focused on Spanish dishes, but one of our last nights in Barcelona, we went to an Italian place, and it felt like Casa Calabria. I mean, not every dish was good, and that's the difference here. Like, I've never had a bite that I wasn't like, wow. But we got a carbonara, and it was, the real Italian style, where it wasn't cream, it was egg, and it was nice. It's just, it's not everywhere. It's not very prevalent there, but we have been to Italy, and it's just, there's nothing like it, except that's what's interesting about Casa Calabria is it feels like when we were in Italy eating in Italy.
Well, our motto is where Italians come to eat Italian.
Yep.
Right.
And last night was the perfect example of it. We actually had a family literally just land from Italy,
Mhm.
Napoli, and there was 7 of them. Well, 2 of them were living here in Fort Lauderdale, were regular customers.
Right.
Are. The other 5, which were cousins and aunts and uncles, they flew in from Italy. They were here maybe 1 or 2 days, and they came to Casa Calabria because the 2 that lived here had to show off that
Right.
there is a
if they know
Yep.
that there is true Italian.
and these people spoke not one word of English,
Oh,
and they
wow.
were entertainers in Italy. They do, they work weddings and they sing and they perform in Italy in Italian, and they must have ate so many things on the menu. I mean, they went from the meatballs to the gnocchi to the calamari to the pastas to the, and they were so pleased.
I'm
They're
so pleased right now. I haven't had this gnocchi in a while.
Never
and
had
it's
it.
so good
It's
in
so
the
light
sauce. And it's
And-
like a creaminess when you kind of bite into
Mhm.
it with
Yep.
the ricotta.
And after they got done eating dinner, they said, we would just love to sing a song at
Oh,
the
wow.
live. So we said, sure. So we had live entertainment every Tuesday. It's our half off wine
Oh, wow.
and Sinatra night.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So we have a Sinatra singer. He wears a top hat and a suit.
Nice.
He's a great Danny Del Rey. He does a great impersonation of Sinatra. And we were extremely busy. That side was packed. There wasn't one table available.
That's great on
They
a
ate over.
Tuesday.
They actually ate right here where we're sitting. And they got up and they went over there, and they must have sang 10 Italian songs in a row.
Oh, wow.
And the whole crowd just stood up
sing
and
along,
clapping and
yep.
singing, all recognizable song.
That's great.
And where Italians come to eat.
That's what you
Italian,
call
right here.
good vibes. I
Mhm.
mean, you gotta love to see that, and because nobody's in a bad mood when you're eating good food like this. So, job well done. Hey, speaking of Italy and trips to Italy, this is a story I haven't told yet. So, at last week's Red Meat Lovers Club, they had I was a judge in a meatball competition they had up in
Oh, we
Del
should have
Rey.
Yeah, I was gonna
boxing.
say next year.
Next year we can
we
get
have to make
Frankie
sure
involved.
Calabria's in there.
We had
That
some of our
meatball's
friends
fantastic.
from 388. I thought 388's meatballs were the best, but there was a number of judges. Sicilian Oven ended up taking home the judges' prize, and we like our friends Andrew and Ralph from Sicilian Oven. They keep expanding, and then Peter Izzo and Peter's Pizzeria. It was a great night of boxing and meatballs, food, fun, raising money for charity. But lo and behold, and this might explain why I've gone sober. I had a couple of drinks and maybe some other intoxicants, and they had these auction items. And on the silent auction, they had this like a couple of night trip to Lisbon, or not Lisbon, Porto, Portugal, with some wine tours, a wine boat. I was thinking of bidding on that. I called, actually texting my girlfriend Val, and but the price on that one, that the minimum bid was a little high because it was just a 3-night thing. Anyway, lo and behold, Evan Darnell, the head of the Red Meat Lovers Club, gets up and does a live auction for basically an apartment villa in Tuscany for a full week.
That's
6 nights, 7 days.
That's a move, because you can take trains all the way down to southern Italy, central the coast.
Well, the opening bid, it was low. It was lower than what he had on the sheet, and I raised my hand for $2,500.
No, that's
for a
definitely worth
week
it.
at a nice.
Can't beat that.
No, that's insane.
A nice place in Tuscany for a week, and nobody else bid. So I ended
Oh,
up.
you won it?
I ended up going home with
Oh,
a
wow.
week package, in Tuscany. It didn't include the airfare, but the thing is,
The airfare would be more than the apartment.
Honestly,
yeah.
yeah.
well, that's where points come in. But
Yeah, use your point.
Yeah.
at some point this year, there's no expiration date,
Oh,
no
that's great.
blackout
That's great.
dates. We've got to just coordinate with the people that control these apartments. They have several of them, and they're supposedly really nice. A town called Cortana or something like
That's
that.
beautiful.
That's
Is it by
different.
Florence?
It must be close. I got to look up on a map but I love all
We
of
love
Tuscany. I
Florence.
mean,
All of Tuscany.
I
Tuscany, oh
like
my God.
Siena. I like there's a couple of Greve and Chianti.
I was gonna say
and
the Greve and
Cortana.
Chianti is
All
great.
I know is that now we have an excuse to go to Italy and also extend the trip and go to places
Great
point
job.
south. I've never been to Calabria,
Yep.
so might have to carve out 2 weeks at some point.
That's actually our next trip, because
You'll love Calabria, and the reason why it hasn't been habitated by all the tourists.
Oh, that's
right.
great.
You go to
It's
Rome,
still a
and,
little rustic.
you know, if you go to
Yeah.
Rome, or you go to Venice, and you're you're in
yeah.
the square, you will see
It's insane.
Venice, you'll get
thousands
trampled
and thousands of people,
or
and,
drown.
and then they have the I don't want, people selling you.
Yeah.
No,
all-
I like the more rustic country spots
Yes.
because I've done a trip through Tuscany before, and
But Calabria is one of those undiscovered
Mm.
treasures, especially the mountain range where
Mm.
I'm from.
Yeah,
It's called
okay.
the Sila.
Mhm.
And then there's 2 particular towns in Calabria, and one is called Sheila. It's right close to where you cross over to Sicily. The ferry's right there, and it's beautiful. A big castle on top of the mountain, beautiful beach town right on the ocean, and restaurants and shops everywhere. Then they have the hotels around the other bend,
Well, that's great.
and then my favorite is Tropea. Tropea is, if you look at
I'm going to have to get all the 411 from you.
yes.
And then since we control our flights, we can fly into Milan and fly out of whatever is
Yeah,
closest
I think
to
that's a move. We
Calabria.
start south and go
And
north.
then maybe you got some hookups or like some family. Or
I do have family in
I'll
Calabria.
clean the dishes.
You won't have to
Mayo.
clean dishes. They'll be more than glad.
Mayo.
When I tell them that you're my friend, they'll be more than glad to feed
Oh,
you.
There's
man.
something
It's that
there.
southern hospitality
No,
of it.
that sounds good.
Italian.
I do want to check out because I haven't been to the south. I haven't been.
I haven't. Yeah.
I haven't been to Sicily yet, and I haven't been to anything south of Rome. So
And I'm going to say one more thing, and it's
Yeah.
most people that go there will say the same. The food is so much better than in the South, and the reason why is because it's farm right to the table.
mhm.
Like when we go out to restaurants, they get the cheese right down the
Yep. Yep.
right down the street at the farmer. The fresh mozzarella is still shaking and warm.
Yeah,
and the
that-
ricotta is made right there.
It's all good. And look, I've been around in the north in the Lake Como district. I've been into is it Puglia? No, what
Puglia?
And I've also been, of course, the Florentine steak is great.
It's great.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everything there. You can't go wrong. It's like going to New Orleans for a
Yeah.
Super Bowl. It's very hard to get a bad meal
Yep.
in a place like Italy. And I'm very much looking forward to it and checking out some new places. And I'll be drinking again by then. So I'll be
Yeah, you're
downing the red
The
wine.
wine there is amazing.
not that I'm missing it as I take my sip.
Yeah.
Great mineral water. Hey, let's take our second break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about some things going on locally. There's the Michelin Guide announced that they're going to be coming to Greater Florida, the Palm Beaches, and what restaurateurs think of it, because as we had a discussion earlier about maybe people shouldn't pay too much attention to that because they reward a certain style and not necessarily the best value of the most delicious places. But we'll talk about that in a moment after these words on the Lunchbox. Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar. a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talarico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed. Looking for great seafood that's a little further inland? Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C. 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward. Some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner, closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial. Serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the New River. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and the Lunchbox, and just got word Defo got stuck in traffic, so he's not going to be able to join us today. His loss, because I am just eating these beautiful gnocchi nonstop. I usually get it with the gorgonzola cream sauce. This is
A vodka.
It's a vodka sauce and addictive. I am just like
One of these eggplant,
eating
stuffed eggplant.
more and more. But
Raviolis were ridiculous.
again, Casa Calabria open every day but Monday, right? You're
Correct.
still closed on Mondays, even in the season. You got to give Chef and
Chef
the
Sal
crew
gets a day off.
a little
Yeah.
breather.
We have a small staff in the kitchen, mostly from Italy. I won't say all, but mostly.
Mhm.
And we work with them only. So they need one day off a week, and that's Monday. And, we have live entertainment 6 nights a week now as
Right.
well. Tuesday.
Sometimes Italians coming straight off the plane.
Yeah.
Sing.
That happens. And,
But yeah, and now you got kind of like you said, you're trying to get the late night scene going after Piazza Italia downtown.
that's working out great as well.
And people, that crowd coming over here and having a good time.
Yeah. So what's happening now is that, starting Fridays and Saturdays only from 10 p.m. on, we have a DJ.
Okay.
And the old DJs from Piazza, but they're playing, disco music and, top 40. We don't play any hip hop or anything.
Not electronic dance
No,
music or anything.
not
So
here.
this is like
And the crowd is an older crowd, our age,
Right.
in their 40s and 50s and even 60s and
Mm.
70s in some cases, but even up to 80s. Who knows?
and you let people have a good time.
And they
man.
dance and they have a great time. And the people that normally would eat dinner and go home are sticking around. They want to
Right.
dance.
Even Defo, I understand when he comes here sometimes
Yeah, they
hangs
hang out.
out and has
Yeah.
a couple of glasses of
Try
wine
not
at the
to.
bar afterwards. It's the Mustang. He said he apologizes and that tell Frankie I'll see him sometime later this week.
I'm looking forward to it.
Which-
Defoe's
Mike Lynn's here.
He's a great guy. I see him on a
Regular
Regular
basis.
basis.
He lives.
He loves
He
Casa
lives close
Calabria.
by, and so yeah. So all right. So I wanted to get into. Oh, first of all, your different ventures. Now you have the Port de Hiver, which is a kind of small bed and breakfast. Or kind of,
Like
how would you
old school bed and
describe it?
breakfast.
Okay, so it's pronounced Port de Ver. It's
Port
spelled
de Ver.
But if anybody wants to Google it, it's spelled Dhiver, Port de Hiver.
Which means winter
Port,
Right.
correct.
And it's
And-
winter, but
And that's
it's
up in
open.
it's on Melbourne Beach,
Mhm.
and it's directly on the ocean. It's the second highest rated small boutique hotel in the country
That's crazy.
Mhm.
by
How many
Trip-
rooms?
by TripAdvisor. It's 12 rooms. We're
Okay.
adding a 13th room and
Nice.
a house
Nice.
that
Okay.
is 110 years old. The house. That's where we serve the breakfast and we serve the happy hours, complimentary. It's included in your stay, and we're right on the ocean. And it's a 5-star. I mean, the ceilings are 18-foot vaulted ceilings made out of beautiful hardwood.
Is it all booked up for the season, or is it
There's still
the weekends?
some. Weekends are pretty much booked right now, all of February, all of March. But there's weekdays are available. You can catch a room here and there. It's well worth it. And I mean, if the rooms were down here, they'd be going for $1,200 a night.
Right.
That's how nice this is.
Okay.
It's rated 5-star on TripAdvisor, 5-star on Google.
Wow.
After 20 years in business,
I'm going to get up there this summer, and we might even do a show there.
I'm
See.
open to
Yeah,
doing
we
up there
can
when
work
it's
something
slow.
out.
If,
Absolutely.
Yeah, in the middle of the week, we could do a road trip. I know
Honestly.
Lubie always loves those, especially
sure.
in the off season. So I look forward to getting up there. If people want to make a booking for that, they just go onto the website.
yep, Port de Ver, you can book right online, or
And is
call-
it just Port and then Dhiver, like
correct?
hives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Port de Hiver, Melbourne Beach.
Okay, and you'll find it and book it and have a great time. Otherwise, and you also have some stuff in the Bahamas, right?
I do. We have the Tiki Bar in the Bahamas. It's still going strong after 7 years in business now. And we opened up our first pizza shop in the Bahamas.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It's called Angelo Street Side Pizza. Our
Oh, wow.
partner there is Angelo. He runs it. He's from Italy. He's
Okay.
from Sicily, and puts his heart and soul into it.
Nice. Does he
And-
sell slices or is it little pies or?
Well, we have everything. We have a full menu, slices. We have small, medium, large. We have pastas. We have you name it.
I haven't been to the Bahamas in forever, and I would imagine that they're aching for some good pizza.
Yes.
Oh, it's phenomenal pizza.
That's good.
We also use Caputo flour 00. He makes his own dry active yeast, and it's so crunchy. You pick up a slice, it just sticks straight out. It's crunchy, and it's the best ingredients. And the word is catching on that it's the best
Yep.
pizza in the Bahamas.
Nice. All right. So I mentioned about the Michelin Guide. It started off as basically a French, the tire company in France started a guide for road trips in France, and they would spotlight country inns and little restaurants and things that people who are traveling around France might be interested in. Now it's turned into this worldwide phenomenon. I think it's gone a little askew because they came to Florida to start a Florida edition a few years ago, but it was only in 3 cities, Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. It was kind of like, I won't say pay to play, but the local tourist boards had to kick in money so that the Michelin Guide inspectors could go around and, eat. they pay their own way when they're eating. You don't know who's, whatever, why people get in. But they seem to reward a certain type of restaurant, mainly French restaurants, mainly restaurants that do these long-winded tasting menus that are, 12 courses and $200. And we were talking before the show about, sometimes they reward the way the plate looks.
The creativity.
Yes.
And, the smaller the plate, the less they feed you, the more the more they create.
The more points you get.
The effective use of white space on a plate comes into play. The little dots, the little, the molecular gastronomy, and like I was saying, sometimes they carve a pear into the shape of a dolphin, or something like it. And sometimes I've been to some of these fancy places. Some of them do serve really nice, creative food, but then, even after 12 courses, you end up stopping at McDonald's on the way home for a Big Mac.
Which will never happen here.
No.
I complain to the chef that we give too much food, but I won't reduce it. I'm going to keep it the way it is.
No complaint. But I mean, some chefs, they get into the game and they want to be at, and there's two things. There's the James Beard Awards, which actually specifically rewards individual chefs. They get honored along with some restaurants. And then the Michelin Guide is basically stars get awarded to restaurants, not the chefs themselves. But people that go chasing stars, as it's known in the business, sometimes they lose the forest through the trees and they don't focus on the day-to-day, or, what's your view on that?
My view, what? I like to go to a restaurant where I feel comfortable, and I don't care how much I spend, as long as I'm happy with the flavors and the quality, and not so much the quality. But I don't want to be hungry when I leave.
Yeah.
I want to be satisfied.
There's the happy balance.
Yes.
Like you don't need gargantuan portions, but you need enough to make people full.
I've been to one Michelin star restaurant in Italy, and it was nice, and but their flavors were not any better than ours.
Exactly.
I would say ours were even better than theirs. It was just basically their presentation. They had the chef, and he had the little dots, and he had everything curved, and it was a great experience. But for the buck, I tell you what, I'm coming to a place where I know I'm going to get homemade family recipes, and I'm going to love the food, and it's not going to hit me over the head with a sledgehammer on my wallet. It's
what always scared me, and I was a critic, and look, I'm a guy, I like everything from Skyline chili to the most rarefied and 3-star. I've been to a place in New York, the Bernardine. I did have a fantastic meal there, expensive as heck. Everything, again, it was pretty food, it was creative food, but it all tasted delicious and it all made sense, ingredient wise. Sometimes you take a bite of something, and it's always scary when a place and somebody describes the menu as, oh, it's this tasting menu, and some of it is challenging. It's like, I don't want to be challenged. This isn't the SAT. I once went to a place in Miami that everybody was raving about, and there was like this opening dish that had like 7 different vinegar foams over a bed of Granny Smith apples and shaved, the raw beef, the carpaccio, and the vinegar all on top. It tasted like I was inhaling a train derailment, the toxic fumes from a trail derailment. It was just awful. And people love the place. And I guess maybe that's why I'm not a Michelin Guide inspector and just was a kind of man of the people critic. And not to bash Michelin, and any place that earns it.
Yeah, good for you.
The other fear is there's some places in Miami very well deserving that I was happy they got it. Local homebred chefs, place like Stubborn Sea, Jeremy Ford, place like Ariette, Michael Beltran. But what's happened after you get the Michelin star, there's a pressure to keep it.
Nah, you have to do a whole thing.
Then you get all these foodie tourists that come in that are that's a whole subject unto itself, Frankie. These people who are like food tourists, and the demand goes so high that the price goes up. So I've returned to a couple of these places over the last year after they got their Michelin stars, and the menus have doubled. Like I spent over $600 for 2 people at one of these places, where it used to be you go in and it was $100, it was like $100 per person, $150 per person. Now
now they have to hire extra people to decorate the place,
right? to shave the ice in a certain way in your glass. So all right, well, it is for those who chase stars, it's exciting that they're opening the playing field. But you'll find me at places that don't necessarily have the stars because they're still every bit as delicious. So,
And you never know, if they come here, we might get a Michelin star.
Yeah.
We're as good as any Michelin star restaurant.
I mean, you'll stack yourself up against anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And they have 3 different levels. There is actually getting a star. There's getting what's called a bib gourmand, which is places that have really good food at value prices. I'd say this place qualifies.
I'm in for that.
And then there's also what they call recommended. And some of the most iconic, there I go, iconic places. There's no most iconic. Joe's Stone Crab in Miami, Burns Steakhouse in Tampa, places where have been open for,
Like
100
60
years. Places where every tourist wants to go check out when people, they're visiting friends in town that are booked solid. Neither one of those places have gotten Michelin star recognition. They did get put in the guide under their recommended or, places that are notable. But to me, Joe's Stone Crab is what, like Miami Dine. I mean, where else are you going to get?
Restaurant.
Yeah, they do everything right. So I'm going to say I kind of take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, I like how Frankie's thinking about it. Like,
I'm thinking about that beach right now.
Yeah.
80-degree weather, and the tiki bar that's just beautiful today. It was packed today. Everybody was on the beach. Everybody was at the pool.
Having a good time.
Got
All
the
great
tables
rum
were
runners.
full.
Pina coladas.
That's what I'm thinking
Am I-
about. I
I
gotta head back out to work.
I gotta purr that alcohol.
Frankie's
from
like,
my
I gotta
system.
head back to work.
I'm not an alcoholic. I just dream about alcohol now that I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Frankie,
Oh,
always
it's a
a pleasure
pleasure.
to see
You're the
you.
best, Frankie.
Hopefully we can
Pleasure.
do it again
We'll
next
see you
month.
soon.
And let's take our third and final break, and they'll come back and wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox from Casa.
Hey, Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Fresh local fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hour 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and We're back. You caught me. I'm totally eating this.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start
Rigatoni
pulling food. Because I forget I don't eat like that. Like we'll have the food. Like Defo's always like, eat more, Lubie. I'm like, I don't think like that. I have a bite and I leave it alone. I notice, and my wife bitches at me about this because she's like this, and my mom too, where the self-control thing, where like if it's there,
If
you're
you
just
put
gonna eat it.
something that's really good in front of me,
you're gonna eat it.
I'm gonna eat it. And I
Yeah.
haven't had the
Well, we haven't had that in a while.
I haven't had the gnocchi here in a while. I haven't been in here probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 months, and it's been too long.
Yeah.
And I just forgot how darn
That's great.
good they are. And they're like potato chips. You eat one of those, you can't eat just one. So give me a break.
I'm not giving you no, I'm not even judging you. This is what I've learned from a lot of people in my life is Shirley calls it food noise, and she's like, just don't mention food ever. I'm like, okay. So like with you, if it's there and it's good, you're gonna eat it, which is what normal people do. It's just that's sort of the thing about what you're trying to avoid, I guess, what you're working on.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. I think we're in under an hour. We might be, we'll be back here hopefully next month. Our thanks again to Chef Salvatore and Frank Talarico. We'll be tomorrow at Wicked Cheesesteaks, a little bit earlier, starting time 11:45. We might have a special guest tomorrow.
That'd be cool.
Kim Bocamper,
We love Bob.
who is a regular patron of
That's so
Wicked
great.
Cheesesteaks. So, all right, that's it for today. Thanks again. We'll see everybody next time. Enjoy every meatball, every pasta, and enjoy every sandwich.